The college baseball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up today with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And it is showtime once again here back on the college baseball experience. We're going to talk some Texas A&M coaching candidates today. In case you've been living under a rock, early on Monday, June 24th. By the way, my name is Noah Bieniek, aka 77, the host of today's show. Early on Monday, June 24th, the Texas Athletic Department and former baseball head coach David Pierce announced that they were mutually parting ways on the same day of Game 3 in the College World Series, nonetheless, in the finals there, where the Longhorns' bitter in-state rival Texas A&M was playing for the national championship. Texas steals the headlines and steals the Aggies' damn baseball coach in the process, as it was officially announced Tuesday night, June 25th, Jim Schlossnagle is leaving College Station for the big and bright lights in Austin, Texas. And at 11 a.m. Central today, the Longhorns introduced Schloss as their new head coach. Details are still coming to the surface, but after consuming some content from national writers in college baseball and those at TexAgs and also some local reporters for College Station and Austin, Schloss may have been working behind the scenes prior to the conclusion of the season, stemming all the way back to as early as the weekend series against Georgia. Jim Schlossnagle and Texas Athletic Director Chris Del Conte indicated that all of this transpired after Monday night's national championship game. So they denied everything, doubled down on that they did this without any dirty, slimy backdoor throughout the season. No 1 foot, no 2 foot at the door for Schlossnagle while he was playing. They doubled down and said that it was all in good faith, that Del Conte, he even posted a picture today on Twitter of the graveyard that he said he was sitting at to avoid attention in College Station. That way he could go drive to Schlossnagle's house and get the deal under wraps, basically, when he got back from Omaha. So one thing is assured, these things normally do not come or become official this fast. It usually takes many agents and many conversations to discuss contracts, not only for Schloss, but his entire coaching staff that he took with him here from College Station to Austin. Nolan Kane, the recruiting coordinator, Max Weiner, the pitching coach, and the hitting coach, Michael Early, all four of them are off and running, ready to recruit high schoolers and the portal. Meanwhile, they are leaving A&M high and dry while the transfer portal closes on July 2nd, and the coaching staff didn't tell 95% of the players on this team before they left, most of them being blindsided by this and found out about the news on social media. So now we're seeing all of these Aggies players entering the transfer portal kind of as an insurance policy. I don't know how this specifically works for baseball. I should as a baseball guy, but the portal closes on July 2nd. But is that because of the academic calendar, or is it because or not? Because we technically in other sports get like a 30-day window for athletes to enter the transfer portal if their head coach leaves the program, like we just saw here with Texas A&M. So some of these guys are entering the portal with that in mind, kind of as an insurance policy. Those that are interested in returning to College Station still can, but if a coach gets hired that they don't particularly like, or vice versa, the coach doesn't love them, this way, because they are already in the portal before the deadline, or prior to the 30-day deadline that they'll get here with Schloss leaving, they can remove their do not contact tag that they could choose to place on their name in the portal, and then they can explore their other options here. A couple of last things that should be cleared up before I move on from Schlossnagle's press conference with Texas today. Schloss did apologize to TexAg's reporter Richard Zane after berating him Monday night. Schloss said, quote, "That was an obvious question. I wish I could have answered it better," end quote. Schloss also indicated that he believes that next year's series between the two teams will be played in Austin. Of course, these two programs are permanent opponents now in the SEC's new schedule structure. And to my knowledge, the official schedule has not been released yet. Obviously, this would suck if we don't see Schloss and Texas go into Bluebell Park next year. But whenever they do it, it will be a boiling cauldron. Lastly, Texas A&M fans won't admit it, but Jim Schlossnagle is leaving College Station and the program, the baseball program of Texas A&M, 10 times better than the way he found it. I mean, he has raised the expectation of this program and has pushed so hard for NIL contributions and stadium renovations, and whoever comes in to be the next head coach of the Aggies is going to reap those benefits, and only maybe even more after Schloss has pissed them off so much by leaving A&M to now go coach their bitter in-state rival, Texas. So now let's talk about Texas A&M's coaching search. There are a few things that have been proven time and time again when hiring coaches for a program in the SEC. You either have to poach another SEC head or assistant coach who is experienced in the league, or you have to look around for a guy who has been to Omaha as either a head coach or an assistant. So here are the names that are floating around that I personally doubt become the next head coach at Texas A&M. All four of these names, all over the place, everywhere that you look and read. Personally, I've done my due diligence, did a ton of research, 3 to 4 hours that I've put into this, all based on speculation now. But these four names have been brought up plenty over the last 24 hours here for A&M. Link Jarrett, Tom Walter, Nick Mingione, and Eric Bakich. I don't believe any of them will seriously consider this job. Again, it's speculation from me. I don't know. I don't have any connections to any of these coaches to A&M, but following these coaches closely over the last couple of years, all of them, I'm a big fan of all four of them, literally. I would be surprised if any of them take the A&M job. None of these guys have any prior roots or connections to the state of Texas. Jarrett is at his alma mater at Florida State. Walter has been at Wake Forest for 15 years and has mentioned wanting to retire as a Demon Deacon. Nick Mingione has said in press conferences that he dreamed about landing the Kentucky job and raising his family in Lexington, and now he's built up that program, took them to their first College World Series. He could get a statue when it's all said and done. And the last one, Bakich, who's at the place that gave him his first shot to be a coach, and his associate head coach is his former boss that he received that shot from, Jack Leggett. You know, all four of these guys value the relationships that they've made at their current posts. Do you honestly think that any of them will look at Aggie Nation dragging their current athletic director, Trev Alberts, through the mud and say that I want to go coach for that guy who may just end up getting thrown to the curb in a year? I know that I ain't buying what everybody else is selling. Before we get to the candidates that I've created today, I've got a list of the top 11 candidates that if I was the athletic director, if I was Trev Alberts of Texas A&M, I have made a list of my 11 guys that I'm calling and seriously considering. Yes, there are some other guys like Jay Johnson and some other top of the line coaches that you gotta give them a call, but realistically there are 10 to 11 options here. Before I get to those, make sure you check out the Sports Gambling Podcast as they've started their top 10 fantasy football preview series. The quarterbacks and tight ends episodes are already live, and like they say, it's never too early for the National Football League. The college baseball experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, and you can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up today with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick, plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th for the Circa Millions and Circa Survivor, and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. Okay, we're back here on the college baseball experience. Shout out to Connor Johnson, who's currently watching live here. He says, I don't think Canham would leave, but I also didn't think Smith would leave. Talking about Jonathan Smith, their football head coach. Yeah, I mean, kind of the same situation for both, I guess. With Smith being a quarterback for Oregon State. I guess I didn't really truly consider Canham to leave either, just because after watching their press conference, it already sounds like they have an idea of what they're getting into, and they're pretty excited for the schedule that they're planning on building here. So I actually think Oregon State low-key is happy about being independent. Obviously not for all sports, but for baseball. The read that I have, it sounds like Mitch Canham is ready to hit the ground running here. The Texas hire was pretty obvious to me with Schlossnagle. I mean, I buried it at the end of our show when we did the Texas candidates, and I was not plugged in at all. But like I said, I listed Schlossnagle, and I said it was probably a minus 250 favorite for Schloss to become the next head coach of Texas baseball. Like I said, I'm not plugged in. I have no idea what Texas A&M will do, but I spent like the last 3 or 4 hours researching some potential candidates. And I added those that have Texas roots, Omaha coaching experience, whether they're a head coach or an assistant coach, SEC coaching experience, and or a link to Jim Schlossnagle's coaching tree to this list of top 11 candidates for me. After all, Schloss is the best coach in A&M baseball recent history. It may be smart if A&M dips back into that tree. I may not nail the next hire that the Aggies make. Who knows what it will be, but this is an athletic department that had a huge debacle when trying to recently hire a new football head coach. And this is also AD Trev Albert's first head coaching hire. So I waited till the end to talk about Jim Schlossnagle most likely becoming the next Texas baseball head coach. I'm going to flip it today because I don't think there's a minus money favorite. I have a pretty clear top 4. For this list. 2 of them are current top assistants in the SEC. Then I have a mid-major head honcho, and then an off-the-radar surprise to maybe some. And I'm going to get to that little surprise immediately because I think he might be the guy that ends up getting this job. Texas A&M is probably looking at Will Bolt as a serious contender for this head coaching job, as he was the most recent hire for Trev Alberts that he made back at Nebraska for baseball. The Cornhuskers won the Big Ten tournament in 2024 and had the best pitching staff in the Big Ten performance-wise. Iowa still probably gets the crown via the talent that they had and the draft prospects that they're probably going to see in this year's draft, but Nebraska had 4 quality starting pitchers, and their midweek guy threw a no-hitter this year. Bolt was awarded the 2021 Big Ten Coach of the Year, and he's a native of Conroe, Texas. Bolt appeared in the College World Series back in 2005 with Nebraska and in 2017 with Texas A&M. He has a combined 7 years across 2 tenures at A&M. Bolt's primary functions on the Aggie staff back then included coordinating the offensive game, mentoring the infielders, and serving as the third base coach. The Aggies finished in the top 25, nationally in batting average twice under his tutelage, and finished in the top 5 of the SEC in hitting or runs scored in 4 of his 5 seasons with the Aggies in his second tenure. Jerry Lee 415 says Elander from the Tennessee staff. He played for Schloss and is from Round Rock, but hopefully he stays at Tennessee. Jerry, my friend, he is on the list. I'm going to go down in order of the way I have it, but Elander is on the list. Next one, although he is Jay Johnson's right-hand man, Nate Yeskie should get a call and be a real candidate here for the Texas A&M vacancy. In his time at Texas A&M from 2022 and 2023, he helped guide the Aggies into the postseason with both seasons, or he helped guide them in both seasons to the postseason when he was on staff. In 2022, Texas A&M captured an SEC West title, an NCAA regional and super regional title. It was A&M's first trip to the College World Series under Jim Schlossnagle in his first year as head coach there, where they won 2 games in Omaha, one against Notre Dame, and more importantly, the other win was over Texas in an elimination game in Omaha. Yeskie has the Omaha experience, SEC coaching success. And even though Yeskie is an Oregon State guy and has spent some more time with Jay Johnson than he has with Schloss, he is part of the Jim Schlossnagle coaching tree, you could say. So I think he's a solid candidate here for Texas A&M. Now I'll take you to another guy who spent some time in the dugout with Jim Schlossnagle at TCU this time, though. Florida's assistant coach, Chuck Girolman, who was also with Schloss as an assistant coach back in 2012 and 13. Girolman has been the main hitting coach for Florida over the last 5 years and the back-to-back College World Series appearances. Girolman has also been a tremendous recruiter and has helped multiple players get drafted into farm systems and become stars in the game of baseball. Most notably from the last 2 teams in the College World Series, kids that got drafted. Obviously, you're going to see Caglione get drafted this year, but last year you saw Wyatt Langford, Sterling Thompson, Josh Rivera get drafted. Also, he was part of recruiting Shane McClanahan to campus when he was a part of the South Florida coaching staff, and also Austin Hayes during his time at Jacksonville. So yeah, he's number 3 for me. Number 4 is, we're going back to the head coaching experience. However, not a head coach in the SEC. This is the mid-major head honcho that I was talking about. Louisiana head coach Matt Deggs has a very real shot to become the next head coach at Texas A&M. Most notably, he was recently embraced during the regional round when he and his Raging Cajuns made the Bryan College Station regional final. Deggs loses his superstar Kyle DeBarge, who was the shortstop of the last couple of teams he had at Louisiana, to the MLB draft this year, and a boatload of his players are currently in the transfer portal right now, 11 of them to be in fact, and that's counting everybody, whether they stepped onto the field or whether they never stepped onto the field or were everyday players. 11 guys currently in the transfer portal from the 2024 Louisiana Raging Cajuns baseball team. At Louisiana, Deggs has a 160 and 99 record, and overall as a head coach, Deggs has 347 wins, 217 losses. Deggs appeared in the College World Series as part of the 2004 Arkansas coaching staff, and he has coached all over the place in the Lone Star State, whether it's Texarkana, Sam Houston State, or his 5 years at Texas A&M. Then I think after the top 4, there's a little bit of separation, at least for me. Again, all I'm doing here is speculating through my own research. No connections, no nothing, all speculation from me. But I did put in quite a bit of time going through a lot of roots and history of some coaches and assistant coaches. The next one, number 5 on my list here, Rob Vaughn was in the mix for the Texas job, and for the same reasons, Vaughn will probably be a candidate for Texas A&M. Vaughn is only 36 and already has a strong track record as he led the Maryland Terrapins to 3 straight NCAA tournament appearances and also took Alabama to the tournament during his first year of rebuilding in Tuscaloosa. Vaughn is also a native of Corpus Christi, Texas. Then we're going to get to number 6 on my list, Dan Hefner, who deserves a call after the job he's done in parts of 3 decades leading Dallas Baptist. He has led the Patriots to 10 NCAA tournament. That's not correct. Not 10. Sorry. He has led DBU to 10 straight NCAA tournament appearances, including a super regional in 2011 and 2021. He accounts for all of DBU's postseason credentials. Again, DBU, a proud program baseball wise, but recently joined D1 in the 2000s. Since he's been at the helm, 2008, every NCAA tournament appearance has been under him. Um, you know, the knock against Hefner, though, is that Dallas Baptist is a private school, and the Patriots reap the benefits of flexing scholarship money more than just your typical 11.7, just like Vanderbilt and Wake Forest, as examples do. But that advantage continues to decrease with NIL. And even still, if you're appearing in 10 straight NCAA tournaments, you are doing something correct. And Dan Hefner deserves to be in the conversation for the Texas A&M job. I'm going to take a quick drink of water here before I continue. This one, I mean, I had a feeling that maybe one or two assistants could be, with cold feet jumping to Texas from this current Texas A&M team. I mean, they do have a shitload of talent that were young. Just recently, within the hour, Hayden Schott tweeted out in all capital letters, hire Michael Early or Nolan Kane. Both of these guys would definitely be good short-term hires if your main goal is to keep this year's team intact, which could be viewed as pretty important with how many freshmen and talented sophomores were on the squad. They've all kind of hit the portal within the last 24 hours. And the tough part now would be that Texas already has these guys under contract. So now you'd have to go and buy them out. If that exchange from Texas A&M to Texas has already happened. I don't know any of the back channeling and how the payments work, but if Texas has already paid Texas A&M's buyouts for the assistant coaches, then Texas A&M is going to have to go and then repay Texas. I could see that as a little bit of an issue here. The assistant coaches all took the stage, and there was a photo taken with Jim Schlossnagle at this press conference introducing him as the head coach of Texas. But judging based off of body language, I think Nolan Kane could legitimately consider swapping back over to College Station. I noticed, he wasn't really smiling for the entire photo opportunity, and it's just weird shit handicapping a photo opportunity and judging body language. But he wasn't smiling for the entire photo op, and he changed it to a slight smile after the first 10 seconds ish. Max Wiener is gone, by the way. He is absolutely gone, just smiling away here. I think it's kind of hilarious how much the pitching staff at A&M has completely just turned on Wiener and this coaching staff within 24 hours on Instagram. Almost all of the pitchers I have posted something snappy in the comments toward the coaches on some Instagram posts. They're all over Twitter. It's quite entertaining. Featherhead just drops a period with the Michael Early and Nolan Kane mentions here. We're going to get to Jerry Lee 415's name drop of Josh Elander next. I think this is number 8 for me on my big board for A&M's coaching candidates. I think Elander could receive a call from Texas A&M in the next few days. Elander played for Jim Schlossnagle at TCU and began his coaching career with the Horned Frogs as a student assistant in 2016, then spent one season as a volunteer assistant coach at Arkansas. Josh Elander was named an assistant coach for the Volunteers in August of 2017 and was promoted to associate head coach after the conclusion of his 5th season on Rocky Top in 2022. During his 6 seasons on staff, it's now 7, I believe. During his 7 seasons on staff, the Volunteers have made 3 trips to the College World Series, 2021, 2023, and 2024. They have 5 NCAA tournament appearances. Elander also a main part of the national championship this team this year. Elander primarily works with the team's hitters and catchers while also serving as Tennessee's recruiting coordinator. I mean, this team slugged the shit out of baseballs for the last 4 years and the catchers have been excellent defensively. I don't know how you couldn't give Elander a call. Mark Nolan said Nolan Kane, um, and he has been to 3 College World Series, winning 2, one as an assistant and one as a player. Just adding more votes of confidence behind Kane here, who's currently wearing burnt orange and celebrating the introduction of Jim Schlossnagle as head coach at Texas. Chris Cobb says Nolan Kane. Yes, sir. So we've got some Nolan Kane supporters in the YouTube live chat currently. Another buzzy candidate here is Skip Johnson, the head coach over at Oklahoma. Skip was an assistant coach for Augie Garrido at Texas from 2007 to 2016. Johnson's seat in Norman was pretty warm until the Sooners got extremely hot to finish the season in 2022 as the runner-up in the College World Series. This year they finished as a 9th overall seed going into the NCAA tournament. UConn comes out of the Norman Regional, but it was still a very successful season. They ran away with the Big 12 regular season championship. If Skip left for Texas or left Texas for Oklahoma, don't be surprised if Johnson skips town from Norman to College Station for a big time upgrade in pay, because Texas A&M is willing to drop bags. The last name, so number 11 here on my list for today's episode, the last name that I have for today's show, and therefore the one that I think has the lowest chance to get this A&M job, in my opinion. All of this, again, based off of my own research and speculation today. A lot of people either putting out the same copy pasta for the Texas job coaching candidates, or are waiting for Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball. That way they can copy a couple of the candidates that he does and then throw one in. I have my list of 11 here. The 11th candidate, Nate Thompson, who is the Arkansas Razorbacks hitting coach and recruiting coordinator. Thompson has been with Arkansas for 7 seasons and has made 3 trips to the College World Series with a pair of SEC titles and West Division championships, plus winning collegiate baseball's recruiting championship for the first time in Arkansas baseball history in 2023. Now the Hogs offense hasn't been tremendous these past 2 years, but posting 4 of the top 5 school records for home runs in a season under his watch is pretty impressive, if you ask me. They had 109 in 2021, 106 in 2022, 98 in 2018, and 92 in 2023. All of those seasons without Tony Vitello. For those that are curious, the Razorbacks recorded consecutive 100 home run seasons in 2021 with 109 and 2022 with 106 for the first time in school history. Thompson does have playing and coaching ties to the state of Texas, where he played his college ball for Dallas Baptist and began his coaching career with the Patriots too. So all of that could put him on Texas A&M's radar to be their next head coach, as he also does have that SEC assistant coaching experience. I appreciate all you guys joining me today live for this show. We had over 300 of you guys across all platforms. On YouTube, currently over 70. So shout out to all of you guys. That's going to wrap up today's show. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Tell me who you think will be Texas A&M's next head coach down the road here, whether it's announced tomorrow, whether it's announced next Tuesday, however long it takes. Who do you think will be Texas A&M's next head coach? Drop it in the comments below. Hit me up on Twitter at NoahB77_ or the show on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. I'll be here periodically throughout the offseason providing transfer portal and coaching carousel updates, as well as any other news in college baseball along the way. Drop a like and hit that subscribe button, because you've been experiencing the better side of college baseball with the College Baseball Experience. Adios, amigos.